Hi everyone, Joellen here, and welcome to Washed in Watercolor. It's always fun to look at things in a different way. And in today's lesson, where realism meets abstraction, I'll paint a close-up view of this beautiful iris. Today's inspiration is from my student and friend Darlene's garden. I begin with a simple and technical drawing of this iris. I want to make sure I include all the beautiful ruffles and curves. If you're drawing or painting along, I recommend you use a 2H pencil. I'm happy with my technical drawing. I'll use my PBO drawing gum along with a soapy solution and my Princeton Neptune script brush, and I will apply the masking around all the ruffly edges and the outline of the iris. I'll carefully mask out all the fine hairs of the beard as well. My go-to brushes include a Princeton Neptune, a rosemary pointed round, and a Princeton script brush. The colors I'll be using today include Winsor Lemon, Cadmium Yellow, Quinacridone Magenta, Winsor Violet, Ultramarine Blue, Winsor Blue Green Shade, Sap Green, Perylene Green, and Neutral Tint. I also have a Viva paper towel and clean water. I'll start by preparing some colors. I'll use some Winsor Violet mixed with some neutral tint. I'll also be using some sap green and some Winsor Blue green shade. I'll begin by wetting one side of the background with clean water. And I'll carefully drop in my colors and just let them kind of mix and play on their own. I'll tilt and rotate my paper in order to help spread the paint and also to catch any excess water. Wow, those colors are just so pretty. Next, I'll carefully fill in some of the smaller areas. I want to make sure I don't put too much water in these areas. When I'm happy with how this looks, I will dry my paper completely. I'll remove my masking from the back petal only, and then I'll use a 1/4-inch Princeton brush to just soften the edges. I'll take some of my Winsor Violet and I'll put that into my purplish mixture there. And with my smallest brush and a lot of water, I'll carefully paint all the little veins. I want to make sure that this is dry, and then I'll add a light wash with some of my Winsor Violet mixed with some blue and just kind of let things kind of spread and move on their own. I'll repeat this whole process for each and every lighter petal. I really want to pay attention to the way or the direction in which the veins kind of move. So that will help to give each petal its fullness and its roundness. Some of the edges have an outline of a darker purple, so I'll be sure to include this. I love how this particular petal twists and turns, so I really want to pay careful attention to the movement of the veins in order to support this. Once I feel I've captured the movement, I'll next add washes on top of the little lines that I painted in. And I do want to vary the color and I want to think about the slight value changes. As this petal gets closer to the center, I'll also pick up some cadmium yellow and let this kind of mix and play together with the other colors. And by adding a dark purple outline, it will really help to capture that kind of ruffle look of the petal. The whole process is a little redundant, but I am almost there. I decided to wet this larger petal. I don't want to saturate it with water, but I do want to be able to have very subtle, like little darker areas and lighter areas to really show all the little nuances of the form. So I'll just wet kind of the middle area and then I'll start to drop in my variations of purples and blues in order to capture the beautiful movement of this petal. At this point, I'm also adding a little bit of quinacridone magenta. I feel like I'm done with the lighter petals for now. So next I'll put in a very light wash of quinacridone magenta into that dark petal that is right in the front. Also drop in some blue as it's getting nearer to the center, and then I'll make sure that that area is dry. And next I'll get the inner little part of the center right there where we have these two little petals that are kind of sticking up. So I want to pay careful attention to their shape. The center of the flower is deceivingly dark, so I'll use some of my purple in combination with some cadmium yellow, maybe a touch of blue. And I really want to get that nice value contrast. And by getting that contrast, it will really help to make that top petal, that big petal, really come forward. Next, I'll get that darker front petal. So I'll use some of my purple with a little bit of magenta, and I'll add just a touch of yellow to this for the top section. And, you know, there's a beautiful pattern going on here, and I could have masked off the pattern, but sometimes masking can be a little clunky. And when we paint something by hand, it just has, or for me at least, it has a prettier look. So I'll just kind of take my time and think about the shapes I'm seeing. It doesn't have to be perfect at all, but I'll just kind of get them in. And these shapes will get larger or bigger as they're coming forward. And eventually everything will start to fill in, so I'm not going to have to worry about the pattern as much. But I do have to make particular, I have to pay particular attention to the movement that's going on and how you see things are kind of curling around on the right-hand side. That pattern does have to curl around. And I'm finally done with that. And then I can go in and just put my darker purple mixed with some magenta, and I'll add a smidge of neutral tint to this as well, just to get a nice, rich darkness. I'll use the same method and colors for that little area above and then the area to the right. Next, I'll remove my masking and using some cadmium yellow, I'll paint in the beard. I really like how this looks, but unfortunately, I don't think there's enough contrast between the flower and the background. So I know we've done this before, but I'm just going to mix up a big batch of dark, and then I'll re-wet my background and just go back in and do the same thing and just darken the whole background and drop in the same colors as before. This looks much better, and now the petals are really standing out. Finally, I'll just fiddle around with some of the values. I really want there to be a beautiful kind of push and pull as things kind of set back and come forward. I have to say this was a lot of fun to paint, and I think it really is beautiful. It came out really well, so I'm very pleased with it. I hope you painted along or just enjoyed watching the whole painting unfold. Please remember to like and subscribe because it really helps my channel to grow and reach other artists. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.